They've been trading wins back and forth, but Tixier versus Zamayoa now takes a different turn of events. We now jump over to the only oval of the season, and that oval is the Milwaukee Mile. It's going to be all about who can keep themselves out of trouble here today in your Lotus 49 Grand Prix Legend Series. Welcome everybody to what is a very important round of racing that marks the halfway stage of the season. My name's Jake Sperry, and alongside me in the booth today is Joey Atterbury. Robert O'Brien is going to be on the cameras here, which are provided by Dougie Beard. But our focus now turns over to what is important. Oval style running, and the first and only time they'll do so here in these classic Lotus 49s. Let's get an understanding of it here today with our GSRC track guide.
Indianapolis, Daytona, Sebring, Watkins Glen, all legends of American racing, but cannot claim the title of the longest continually operated motorsports facility in the world. That distinction falls to the Milwaukee Mile, where we are today on GSRC. Having been going since 1903, it survived World War II by hosting local events, as it has since 2015, keeping that streak alive. This 1 mile oval is flat. Technically, the banking is at 9 degrees, but it certainly doesn't drive like it. Coming off the front stretch and into turn 1, it's a very shallow entry. You're trying to hit that apex and get around to the point that you can get back on the power again. That launches you off down the backstretch. Looking at Milwaukee from the top down, you'd think both ends are the same. Not so much. The entry into turn 3 is not as shallow and one of the better passing opportunities. Same thing applies to hit apex, get onto power, and watch out for that turn 4 wall. Another thing here is the very odd pit entry. It's one of the most challenging on any oval you'll find. It's well off turn 4 and more of a notch in the wall to get in there. Green flag stops can be, well, a nightmare. Everything except the NASCAR Cup Series has ran here. Indy cars of all generations, USAC midgets, sprints, and Silver Crown, late models, ARCA, NASCAR B Series, and NASCAR trucks have all had events here. Today on GSRC, the Milwaukee Mile rises up and presents a challenge it's known for. Who will take the trophy home in Wisconsin?
It's a special place, the Milwaukee Mile, especially when you consider the Lotus history when Jim Clark in 1963 put himself in with the first ever victory for a rear-engined machine, Joey. This is a circuit which, in terms of this series, has a lot of context.
It's an oval, the Milwaukee Mile, 9 degrees in the turns, just a tick over 9 degrees, and some in the straightaways as well, 1 mile in length. Hence the name Milwaukee Mile. Also home to the Wisconsin State Fair Park. Pretty neat little fact out there in West Allis, Wisconsin. It's going to be interesting. When we think of oval racing and we think of these Lotus 49 cars, we tend to see more of the higher top speeds. Well, that is not going to be the case here at this track. The drivers, they're really going to have to drive the car into these corners 1 and 3. Then you're going to have to really be patient on the nose through the middle of these. Remember, they don't make any downforce here, so you have to be patient. And then still, with over 400 horsepower coming out of those back rear wheels, the drivers will have to be gentle rolling on the throttle. I think the key here today, Jake, the drivers, they're going to have to drive this oval.
Believe it or not, that might just be the key to who gets what out of today. And I think with just the one split as well, that we're going to have a real challenge. Let's talk about that championship though. Sebastian Tixier and Oye Zamayoa trading victories. Tixier with 3 so far this season, 1 to Zamayoa, and as such a 17-point lead at the top of the championship. Drop rounds not included. As of yet, they have 2 this season. Jorge Nieva will be 3rd overall, but is tied on point with the legend Hervé Trengarade, so work to do. Togo Hasada has struggled to find a victory this season. He was all over it last season. This time, though, heading into autumn, his struggles continue. He finds himself 5th with John Olsen in 6th position. Marco Antonio Lopez will be 7th, with Gary Ho in 8th, just ahead of Jason Clapper, whose last to first challenges have been legendary. Top 10 rounded out by Laust Olsen.
We also have the F2 drivers standings. The only thing different is that iRating. Currently, Bjorn Ackerman leads the charge. Michael Grissinger, however, locked in a battle with Jan Steffen, therefore the second place, only 5 points separating them. And then when you continue down the list, Kirk Clapper, another one of those last to first challengers, but tight stuff. And we're only about halfway through here. I'm also noticing, check out 8th place between Andres Bruno, Mats Linden, Tobias Harnvey. Only 2 points separating those 3 drivers. So I feel like halfway point through the season, really now is when you got what you have underneath you. Time to make that charge, fall down the rest of the hill, continue the championship effort.
And it's not just about the drivers, it is also about the Cup of Nations, and it is a toss-up between Spain and Singapore right now. 1 point as Spain has taken control of the championship lead there. The United States find themselves in 3rd, with Japan just behind them in 4th position, 80 points adrift, with Norway and the United Kingdom also hot on the heels in 5th and 6th. Germany find themselves 7th overall, with 8th belonging to Australia. Denmark are classified in 9th, with Finland rounding out the top 10, 137 points adrift. That's what they're racing here today, though, Joey. There's a nice amount of laps there to go and choose who is going to be victor.
I mentioned halfway through this season, and you're right, very nice amount of laps there, 69 laps, open setup as always, so that means the drivers, they have the ability to tune the car. If they want a little bit more turn in, a little bit more loose, they can go in and click some of those adjustments, really suit their driving style. A drive-through penalty at 17x, disqualification at 25x. Jake, those incident limits, they are not going to be a factor here. It's going to be the concrete walls that are the biggest factor.
It very much will be the factor of today, and you cannot put yourself in the wrong position. Qualifying is pretty much all but done. The last of the drivers then going through. So this is how they line up then. Oye Zamayoa with the fastest time in qualifying. Only driver in the 29s, so 29.995. And we found Mick Claridge, ladies and gentlemen. He's on the front row. He lines up in 2nd position. Togo Hasada will have Jorge Nieva for company. as Hervé Trengarade starts in 5th. And Juho Reiner rounds out the top 6. Sebastian Tixier, a little bit down the order then, in 7th has Bill Tyler for company. Laust Olsen starts 9th alongside Shunsuke Teshima in 10th place.
We have Steve Morris here in 11th. John Olsen going to be sharing row number 6 with him. Jonathan Jordan lined up in 13th. Shady Ahmad 14th. Bjorn Ackerman, that F2 points championship leader, will be lined up in 15th. Ellis Spice next to him in row number 8. Leo Secchiero in 17th. Marco Antonio Lopez Salgado in 18th. And then in row number 10, we have Gary Ho and Matthew Nelson.
Over the page, because there's 33 drivers here today. Tobias Harnvey starts in 21st, and 2 little ducks, as Soupzahn would say, for Kurt Clapper in 22nd position. Terry Tromashauser will start 23rd, along with Jan Stefan. Row 13 houses Gary Quellin and David Beattie. Sandro Scary will go from 27th. We're close to Halloween, as Jason Clapper is the first of the drivers who did not set a representative time. That also includes Heike 360 ES, Xavier Sanchez, Michael Clapper then in the number 8 car in 30th position. And the final 3, Robert Reynolds, Christian Arribas, and then Ilan Marcel making up the 33rd position in the number 33 car. There are your track temperatures out there. It's 29 degrees Celsius out there. Windy here today at the Milwaukee Mile, which could be a little bit of an issue for these very light cars, Joey.
You mentioned it, light, so that means they can get blown around in the wind. They don't have the wings, they don't have the front wings or the rear wings, so you don't make the typical downforce that you see out of the newer open wheel cars. And with that wind, you just got to be careful. I think the biggest thing that it'll do, Jake, is that depending on which direction it's blowing, it might have a higher top speed into either turn 1 or turn 3, so you just have to adjust your braking markers, adjust your entry speed accordingly.
And they will line up behind the iRacing sedan pace car. It says on the banner that it is, in fact, a safety vehicle, which means that everyone will feel very safe currently pacing around and waiting. The lights are off on top of it, So I expect we're only getting the one pace lap before we get ourselves off then to racing action here at the Milwaukee Mile. Zamayoa will have a big opportunity starting from the pole to make gains on Sebastian Tixier. This is the perfect start that he'll be looking for to try and bring back the points in the championship. But with a lot of drivers here today around the mile, there could be traffic concerns and there could be a lot of stop-start as today will tend to go. It will be a case here that with these 9 degrees of banking, you're going to have to pivot to that inside. It's going to be hard work to get that understated. Green flag is in the air, and an early launch then catches everybody unaware. Second on back, we get the green flag. We're underway here at the mile.
Off into turn number 1. Look at this. 3, 4, even 5 wide, a little bit further back, but it is our pole sitter, Zamayoa, that rockets down the back straightaway. Mick Claridge in tow. Then we have Togo Hisada already making a move underneath Nieva around the turn 3.
Yeah, Nieva started in 4th, trying to get into position, but he's on the wrong side of the road. It's Jorge, because Hervé Trengarade will find himself on the inside line. No dramas there as they'll go through. They fan out in the back there. Looks like something's happened off of the start, which has caused everybody then to pretty much find a line as much as they possibly can. Looks like trouble's out there for the likes of Robert Reynolds on the opening lap. Ian Marcel, Clappers, both of them, Michael and Jason in trouble then on the opening lap. On with Laust Olsen as he looks to charge right now. Finds himself in 10th behind Teshima.
Yeah, it was unfortunate for Jason Clapper. Got caught up in an incident riding on board, like you said, with Laust Olsen back here. But check out who just set the purple fastest lap, Togo Hisada. And like you said at the beginning of this race, Jake, look, everybody is migrating down to that bottom lane. If you are stuck up top, you are losing positions.
You absolutely are, and that is the worry. And of course, Laust Olsen, as has been tradition recently, very, very still at the moment as he now looks to try and keep with the group in front. Keys of this race is don't get in trouble. It's on for the race lead as Mick Claridge opens up the inside line on Zamayoa. Zamayoa is now going to have to fight off the exit here, ride up the hill and really try and pinch Mick Claridge down. Look at them tire to tire, Joey.
And then it's going to be braking. Who's got the patience? It's going to be Mick charging it off into turn number 3. Looks like Zamayoa just kind of let him have that inside line there, but you got to be careful not to let Mick Claridge go out too far. You see Oye already having to go defensive now on Togo Hisada as he tries around the outside of turn number 1. I don't think that one's going to work for Togo.
No, he just can't put the power down. I thought he had the confidence to go out there and attack it. Ultimately, that does not work and has to fall back into line after the opening stages. There is Mick Claridge, 2nd and 3rd, and it's now on for 4th behind them here as Hervé Trengarade and Juho Reiner have ceased to stop fighting. They will continue at this moment in time as just behind them they've got Bill Tyler trying to get into the mix. Troubles there in 3rd as Zamayoa is starting to go backwards. Had a good qualifying but can't string it together in overall race pace.
Typically shows pretty well on these ovals, so I'm not surprised to see him already up in that 7th place position right behind Juho Reiner. As you say, Trengrade drift a little bit wide there. I'm noticing, Jake, a lot of these drivers, they're trying to really square off the corner exit. When you do that, though, you open the door way early, so you just have to be careful on who's underneath.
And look at that, one will go through, almost a block-style pass by Reiner as he gets through. You've then got Trengarade looking at Bill Tyler on the inside. He'll have to fall back into line, and the championship leader, Sebastian Tixier, down 1 place off of the start here on lap 7 here of 69 here at the Milwaukee Mile. They'll do 69 miles worth of racing here, and it is high speeds that they've got themselves in. On the brakes then, you can see the car pitch down. Hisada with another fastest lap of the race then, a 29.977. That is quicker than the times they were doing in quali.
Well, they've both gotten by Zamayoa back there, and I actually think that Zamayoa might kind of be the cork in the bottle. Now, he's not necessarily holding up Nieva per se, as we're getting some awesome onboard shots. I believe this is Seb Tixier. I haven't seen the full rig from Seb, and this is pretty impressive.
It is. You can see that he's got the virtual reality look in play as he now really tries to drive. The big red steering wheel is there to know that, yeah, that's absolutely the Lotus 49 steering wheel, and it just shows you some of the dedication as Trengarade has a little mistake in front, opens the door up then. Reiner on the outside, it puts Trengarade there, and Tixia, you can see, he's trying to effectively hug the inside curb through every single corner.
It's the shortest distance around. It also provides the best amount of traction. Oh, did you see that right there? Reiner really squeezed Bill Tyler going into turn number 1. Everybody is arguing over that shortest distance around that we are talking about, and Reiner realized that if he gets hung out up on the top of the racetrack, he's just going to lose positions not only to Bill Tyler, but Seb Tixier, who we're riding on board with.
Look, this is the sort of sense that you don't have that progressive style banking here. You're not going to gain more by being on the outside like at a Zandvoort, for example. You have to work to the inside, and it is the path of least resistance. It's a race to the bottom, essentially, as they go through. The one thing that you could say that will make life a little bit easier for them, though, as this race goes on, little slide there in the background, and there's trouble. Bang! Look at that, up and over, and that's Bill Tyler, who's been caught out, and so too the lap traffic, Sandro Scherri, who had caused all of it.
Yeah, just so unfortunate for both of these. And Sandro Scherri was also the one that was the responsible party for Jason Clapper. And unfortunately here, I just think he got into the outside wall, and I don't think that was malicious, and it just pushed the car back to driver's left at the worst possible time, right into the lead battle.
Yeah, it pretty much was a case there of the small tap there by Reiner as he went by, set off the chain reaction. Speaking of which, 1 and 2, it's Hesada and Claridge at the front. Mick Claridge is doing everything he needs. He's actually dipping a couple of tyres below the apron through the initial corner, getting it squared back up. Look at the turn there on the wheel from Togo Hesada. He is counter-steering, and he is fighting the car on the acceleration.
Gonna see if there's another line difference going into turn number 1 here. They both get out of turn number 4 decent, and I called it before the show. These drivers, they are going to physically have to drive this racetrack. That means they oversteer those loose moments, and here we see Togo Hesada a little bit more wide in turn number 1. He's just trying to square off turn number 2, get that drive off down the straightaway to possibly make a dive bomb move on McClaridge.
Not going to find it there at 3 and 4 this time around on lap 14. Mick Claridge has seen it all before, is very wise to that sort of move, and you now get the sense here that the driver in the number 6 machine, who has been absent suspiciously from the victory lane and the number 1 position in these races, might just be chomping at the bit. Try and get that sorted. Claridge defending that low line once again, has it scouted. You got Jamayoa in 3rd, you got Nieva in 4th, and a gap to Trengarade in 5th. Behind that, the second group is looking like it's getting interesting back to 11th, and Jonathan Jourdain.
It's really interesting, this ebb and flow, because when Mick Claridge got out front, he ran away. Togo Hesada got by Zamayoa as well. Oh my goodness, you caught that too. Tashima looking like Formula Drift out there.
Shunsuke Tashima is finding out what makes this car difficult. The number 3 sees Laust Olsen move to the outside. Another little wiggle on turn-in, is very much having to scramble. And you have to scramble in this car because it's not just a case of the car is fine all the way through. There's brake plane and things like that. You have to be alert to how the car reacts.
And especially the tire temperature. If you overheat those tires, it takes a while to cool them down. And here at the Milwaukee Mile, there is no place to cool them down. You are constantly turning, so you have to be very, very gentle on your tires.
It's very much the case like looking at your keyboard, having the WASD path of movement. A is for am turning left. So they are all turning left, and they have to be very alert to the right-hand side tyres. Another little slide there from the number 3 machine that now puts it himself into what is 9th position and is looking to try and get back that 8th position at the earliest inconvenience in this race. What I will say, though, is that they are soon going to hit here the leading quartet lap traffic in this race. And there are no cautions, of course, as they go around. It's 69 laps, winner takes all. So they're going to have to be very alert to the fact. Huge kick of tail there again from Tashima, and has to be very alert to that. They're going to be alert that traffic's there soon, and all of a sudden, door opens up here, and Tashima sees it's John Olsen down the inside.
And you just got to be careful. Loose is fast. It helps turn the race car, but you just have to manage that yaw angle. When you get out too far with those slides, you definitely start losing just a little bit of time, and unfortunately, I think Tashima is figuring that out. And our lead battle, Jake, it's been incredibly close. I've been watching Togo Hisada poke the nose down the inside of McClarridge quite a few times. I wouldn't say that he's being patient. I would just say that he's waiting for the door maybe to be slightly cracked more open.
Well, he's going to have to work for it and get a tiny bit closer. He's almost on the rear axle there as he runs through the midway of 3 and slides it about through the exit. Car damaged on the inside then as they went through. That was Christian Arribas in trouble, so he will drop out of the way. David Beattie lets himself go a lap down as the leaders fly on through, and they are going to have to be very choice with the way they make these moves. Here's the power move. The big block comes in from McClarridge. Round the outside tries Togo Hisada. They're throwing moves like it's lap 67. We're only on lap 21.
Here we go. Does he get the power down? He's going to have a nice drive down into turn 1, and unfortunately just doesn't have the space to really get up alongside McClarridge. And it was interesting to see that all started. Oh, we got problems right in front of the leader, but thankfully down on the apron. But I was going to say that all started because that lap car on the outside, Mick had to take an early entry. That's really what set all of that up.
Yeah, that was Jan Stefan in trouble, but that last lap from Togo Hisada, did you see, Joey, how late of a decision he made to back out of it into 1?
Yes, and I think he's using his very mature young head. Remember, 2-time champion out there. You don't get to win these series championships if you just throw the car away.
No, you really don't, and it's all about best performances. You're not judged on your best days, you're judged on your worst days, and that's where you're starting to sense that the title rivals in this one between Tixia and Zamayoa are being judged at the moment, with Zamayoa in 3rd, with Tixia currently in 6th and away from that secondary group at this moment in time. It is starting to shake up a little bit, and there have been some good movers through the field. Javier Sanchez, I think, has been one of the best movers through all of this. He's up 15 places to 14th.
I was noticing that myself, starting way back there and just kind of driving through the field. He's got some cars directly in front of him, so he will be able to snag at least a few more positions, but it's still a tough road. Although, what do we have here? Another 40 laps to go? Plenty of time.
Yeah, definitely a lot of room to find these moves, and these all-important overtakes become so critical in terms of the way that they want to make this race happen. So patience is going to be personified, and you expect that these drivers racing about at the front are now going to start trying to get what they want out of it. You're starting to sense there are moves. Tashima's got back through on Laus Olsen. You've still got Jonathan Jourdain, who is there. And there's a big spin off the exit then of the corner going through. That's Bjorn Ackermann, who is your F2 championship leader, in trouble.
You took the words right out of my mouth. Our F2 points championship leader, problems on the back straightaway. It looked like pretty heavy contact from what I saw, too. I don't expect that he's just going to be able to continue on normally.
No, that was a heavy rear hit, and that continues. Bang! Into the wall then. And that is going to be the lap traffic David Beattie, who finds out that you just have to brush the wall on the outside and you're in trouble. And the issue that you've got is that those rear tyres are bigger than what you've got on your front tyres. So you think you're clear, but you are just going to nick the sides.
And I will say, I think it is a little unfortunate how the wall is kind of kicking the competitors back out, but you do have to be aware of that, right? You called it. These back tires, they are so big, and if you grab that concrete wall, trust me, it will pull you into that wall.
very much a case of everyone's liking to listen to a little bit of Pink Floyd here at the Milwaukee Mile. Laust Olsen side by side with Shunsuke Teshima on that outside track, who can't do anything about it. And once more, Laust Olsen goes through. All that scrapping though, and they have dropped off from John Olsen, and they're at risk now at 1.2 seconds of saying goodbye pretty much for the rest of the race.
Yeah, sometimes you just kind of have to put your quarrels aside and do your fast laps in order to keep that track position. And this is John Olsen who's running away. I'm really impressed right now because John Olsen has not only ran away from that battle, but he's also hunted down Juho Raina. And Juho, he's not far off of Seb Tixier himself.
No, Sebastian Tixier, of course, in 6th position. That gap is just about a second, and he's using the traffic well to bridge. That's Gary Quellin that they'll have to go by right now, and Tixier's already through. You can see in the background, there is Quellin on the outside as they go through. Hesada, another fastest lap, this time a 9:18 as the fuel continues to drop in this machinery. Lap 30 here of 69 laps around the Milwaukee Mile. Hesada right onto the rear of Mick Claridge, trying to open up these exits and get what he wants, which he's been looking for all race long. The race lead having started from 3rd position, but they're dancing between the traffic at this point, and that means Tobias Hanvey is the next pick that Hesada is hoping to get.
You see Mick Claridge, he's kind of altered his line just a little bit. He realized what Togo Hesada was doing, squaring off of those exits, and I think now this is chapter 2 of this race. We haven't really been dealing with the lap traffic. Well, guess what? It's here now, and it's here to stay till the end.
It is here to stay until the end of this race, and everybody is pretty much sat on tenterhooks. A little look from Togo Hesada is not going to happen then at the opening corner here, 1 and 2. He's going to have to find the patience card to open it up to get the result that he wants here on this oval. Mick Claridge is holding everything back at this moment in time, and you're wondering here, how much is the 10 able to save the right-hand side tyres?
It's going to be about patience, and I would say if we're judging that just on right side tire wear, I would think that Togo Hesada has used up more of his stuff than what Mick Claridge has. I know that Mick Claridge has been under pressure the whole time. Togo Hesada certainly seems like the faster car, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he's taking care of his stuff more. Togo Hesada looks to be the aggressor out of the two.
He's also trying to stay out of the air a little bit, I think, too, which is also going to help him a little bit on that tyre life, but he gets a fantastic run coming out of 4. Defensive line taken by Mick Claridge. Hesada goes topside, searching for it, but gets way out of it because Claridge really drives it into the corner. It's about drive off the exit, and Hesada, I think, was looking to try and play the game, get it to 3 and 4. Power move to the inside, searching. It's not there.
Mick Claridge is able to defend the lead one more time, but lap 34 coming to lap 35 here, so just about halfway. This assault from Togo Hesada has been nonstop. I mean, how much can Mick Claridge sweat before it drips in the eyes?
Well, that's the question that Mick Claridge is going to have to answer himself then in 10th position. He will look behind at all of these drivers and realize very, very quickly that he is in a class of elite at this moment. Not to say that Mick Claridge isn't. Mick Claridge is a legend, but he is wanting to try and go above and beyond what these drivers are doing at this point. And the quiet drivers here, Zamioa and Jorge Nieva, they have been the keys here to this race. Why you can't step out of line, because they will pounce like jackals.
I think Oye Zamioa, I think that he's had the best two-faced race so far, because remember, he started up front, he's fallen down 1 position, but he actually fell back about 1.5 seconds from this lead battle. So whether he learned something on the racetrack from watching these two competitors in front of him, whatever he did to make that adjustment, he has figured it out, and he's back on this lead pack.
Yeah, he's doing a great job here at the front of this field. Currently 18 drivers on the leading lap at this moment in time, and they are putting together everything they can. A little bit further back, there are some great races going on right now. For example, there's one 14th, 15th, and 15th, 16th, and 17th I should say, at this moment in time to keep an eye out on. This is what they're going to catch next here. Marco Antonio Lopez holding back Ellis Spice and Kurt Clapper with a search to the inside.
And you see Kurt Clapper here try to tuck down to the inside. Doesn't quite have the run on Ellis Spice right in front of him. Going to have to gather it back up through 3 and 4. And you mentioned it, the leaders will be coming up on him. And this is that interesting dynamic. We have 3 cars battling for position, but we also have faster cars coming up behind.
Now, you have to remember in this scenario that they are entitled to battle with each other, and they don't necessarily have to get out of the way by iRacing code standard because, of course, the blue flags are advisories and not mandatories, very much like an endurance style of racing. But the key is going to be that this series runs on respect, and it's that respect which says everybody jump topside, stay out of the way of the drivers down on the bottom.
I talk about it every week covering the series, not even this one, but Lotus 79 Camel as well. I think just the camaraderie between the drivers that show up every single week, they are aware of these lead battles. They are aware of who is fast out on the racetrack, and they give respect to those drivers. So you're right, they are not going to hold up the lead battle as soon as they see him coming up, at least not on purpose.
I tell you what, this is tough for Mick Claridge now. He is being put through the ringer, and he let everybody know up in the front of the field how much he is struggling to keep this lead with Togo Hesada in second. The driver second in the championship, Oye Jamayoa, in third, waiting to pounce. And again, taking that incredibly low line is Mick Claridge. He is dicing on that inside. Every time he goes in, he takes such a shallow line into turn 1. I wonder how much he's scrubbing going up over that inside curve. He's running it on rails.
I think that each driver, they kind of search for what works for them, but you see Hesada kind of use the curb coming up out of 4. Look at how close. Here comes the move from Togo. He finally goes down the inside. Mick Claridge is going to give him room. Can he hug that yellow curb? Looks like Hesada is going to move to the front, but it's all about Claridge. Can he put the power down coming out?
Can Claridge find a carriage that works? He's still on the wrong side of it if he wants to get it done here through 3 and 4. Big power move on the outside, using all of the banking to try and get that run on the exit. We've seen nobody make the outside work. He might not have to drive off the exit. If he's not careful, he'll get freight train. Once more, side by side, on lap 42. The answer to life, universe, and everything. It's battle for the race lead.
And here comes Zamayoa. He's going to try to insert the nose down underneath Mick Claridge. Is he going to try to take it 3 wide? Here comes Oye all the way down on the bottom. He's going to back out of it, and Mick Claridge is the one that's going to try to clear Hesada for the defense. He hangs on.
Yeah, and that's the key there, as now here's the drive off the exit again by Togo Hesada. He had to lift out of it a little bit because of the fact that he had Zamayoa down the inside. He couldn't commit to the turn, and now look at him. He's trying to really open up the gap. Oh, that's brilliant. He prizes the position open through 2, and now there's traffic on the exit here that they might have to tangle with. It's Bjorn Ackermann, the F2 Championship leader, stays well out of it as again, deep into the corner, tries one very important Mr. Mick Claridge, and again he holds. Back into line we go. Here comes Zamayoa.
Zamayoa is going to force Hesada up onto that top lane, but I don't think he's far enough forward here. Yeah, Togo is going to close that door, really square off the exit. He gets a little bit of a wiggle. You see Mick Claridge already go defensive. That was another aggressive move from Togo, Hesada, Nieva. Now, we have the top 4 all separated by inches.
I wonder how much here, Joey, that bottom line has rubbed in where it's maybe giving the next groove that advantage.
I think it's a possibility, but there's not much banking here at Milwaukee. You see the runs come from a wide entry, squaring off of that corner, and if you don't get the runoff, it's because you're too greedy with the power coming out.
I'll tell you what, everyone's looking for a power move, and a mistake by Mick Claridge then entering 3 was very aggressive. Going in, had to bundle it back up again, and Togo Hesada now looks to go through with traffic on the inside. They went 3 in towards turn number 1, and Claridge again is just about holding it and just about pinches Togo Hesada, who stays right next to the rear axle.
It almost seems like Togo Hesada is using the classic rally moves of hooking that inside curb as Zamayoa once again shows the nose, but Hesada is able to defend. I'm noticing Mick is almost giving that inside line now to Togo because he realizes if he can square off the exit, that's the most important run.
And Togo might be wise to it and try to the outside. Don't count out Jorge Nieva either in 4th position. He's been watching everyone. He's been studying. And we're heading towards the end of this race. Lap 48 here of 69. Little searches here and there aren't quite forthcoming at the moment. But these 4 are the fantastic 4 at this point in time. They are running some brilliant races here. But the issue that they're running into is that Hervé Trengere is catching them at, get this, half a second a lap.
Dude, it's like we are connected with the same cable over here, Jake. You caught that too? It's crazy. This battling up front, it is just reeling in Trengere. So these leaders going to have to be careful between the battle, between the lap cars. You got to watch out for more parties entering.
Yeah, but they managed to gather it back up nicely then on that next lap. So a bit of the traffic there being a key. Christian Arabas was the driver that they had to get by this time. But Zamioa in 3rd position doing enough. Tixier as well in 6th place is just playing damage limitation at this moment with Juho Reiner behind at 1.2 seconds. He's just got that at an arm's distance, which will be crucial for his run as he goes forward in the championship. There's the 20 of John Olsen. He's looking to try and move through and jump into 7th.
Yeah, trying to make a move right there on Juho Reiner, and then one of our camera cars, Laust Olsen, still hanging on to the back of this pack. And I actually think that Laust is kind of reeling in both John and Juho up here, so got to be careful as we're side by side for the lead again into 1.
And it's opened up here. Togo Hesada's got to run the outside line because opportunistic Oye Zamioa is trying to prove that he can get the move done and get himself up into 2nd. The draft's going to help, and he's going to try and pinch that inside. He had to commit late there, did Togo Hesada, and that opens up the door for Zamioa, who can't quite work a way in. He's trying to get in, but at the moment, everybody's tinkering, looking for the chance. It's still not there.
I think that was a little bit of bicep flex in between Togo Hesada and Oye Zamioa. You saw Togo shut the door going into turn number 3, but then as soon as he did that, he drifted a little bit wide, and Zamioa said, oh, I got muscles too. I can sneak it up the inside here. So I think a little bit of posturing between those two.
Everyone's looking at who's got the best gains, but that won't matter. It just matters who gets over the line first here at the Milwaukee Mile. Lap 53 starts then here of this race, and they know that they are going to be inside very soon. The final 15 laps of this one, and that's where you say trivialties basically go by the wayside. It's gloves on at that point.
Well, they better have their gloves on because fires can happen in these cars, and you know how quickly those can spread. But riding on board, Mick Claridge looking out the back. I gotta wonder, when's the next move gonna come? When is it gonna come from Zamioa poking it 3 wide? And is Nieva just hanging out at this point, or does he have something to come up in battle?
Well, I think Jorge Nieva doesn't want to risk his race. I think he's trying to take advantage of everybody else jumping out into a bit of trouble here in this one. That is the key. John Olsen, by the way, is through on Juho Reiner. He is now up into 7th position as Mick Claridge, we take a look at the most famous engine in motorsport, now finding itself here with Mick Claridge behind the wheel, just about holding on. But look at the traffic. They'll get in front now. They've got 3. They've got to piece, maybe 4 they've got to try and dice by.
Now, this is going to be a thick group you're going to have to deal with, and we've seen when the leader has to enter on that low lane, it really gives the opportunity for the drivers behind. Looks like they're going to sneak up the inside here of Shinsuke Tsushima in that number 3. Oh, I'm sorry, that's the number 9 car out there. That's Ellis Spice they are going by.
Ellis Spice being nice, staying out the way as Claridge then and Hesada go and get their game on. They have to think about what more is there in this one. The traffic behaving itself, staying to that outside track. That's David Beattie. They get by for not the first time in this race, but now again back on that low charge they go through. They have to be so pinpoint accurate. The moment you overextend on that inside curve, you're touching grass, and that's trouble.
You kind of balance that line. I mentioned it earlier, kind of hooking that inside curve like a rally car. Use that inside camber to really hook it on the inside part of your wheel and use the extra grip to pull you around that long, long corner.
I tell you what, they are hauling at this moment in time. Here at the Milwaukee Mile, West Allis, Wisconsin, is being shown a clinic at this moment. Nieva has maybe struggled with the traffic more than the other drivers. He now finds himself nearly 7/10 down as he now looks to drive through. The front three are starting to break away.
We mentioned the respect out of the traffic, and they did stay out of the way. I just think that Nieva was maybe 1 or 2 car lengths back. He just caught the bad side of that traffic, and you're right, stretch it out just a little bit, but still in there. And here comes Togo Hisada. Oh, he was in the grass like you were just talking about a couple laps ago.
He does not care for the grass. He will find any angle to find this overtake, and he's driving it in with absolute abandon at this point. It's 10 at the strike, and still Hisada can't find the pass.
I'm a huge aviation nerd, and this is like formation flying to me, Jake. You look at where he's putting the nose in between the tires and the gearbox back there, and then having the big old wag of the tail coming out. I think that Togo Hisada is not only a fast driver, but he's doing it with some flair right now.
He's got some panache, I can say that much. Gary Quellin and Marco Antonio Lopez then to get through. Claridge gets on the radio, says thank you, away you go. He goes down to the low side that time to Gary Quellin to stay out of the way. Now on the high line, who's going to stay out of the way next? And now who's going to find that opportunity? Still having to fight there off the exit, but it's how little you have to fight that's going to give Togo the opportunity. Mick Claridge has been impervious at this moment in time.
He's doing an excellent job with the defense and really the whole race so far, because remember, he didn't start on pole position. He was shuffled back just a little bit, so he passed these cars, was able to make the gap, and ever since that, he's had the pressure in the mirrors the whole time, so doing a fantastic job not to make any sort of mistake.
Who will invoke the spirit of Jim Clark? Hisada looked for the inside. It was covered. Still has the wherewithal to go to the outside, but Zamioa again, who didn't have to deviate his line, tries to stick his nose in and make that an opportunity. Mick will absolutely love that because Togo's now going to have to defend on that outside line. Tries to give a little bit of something there to Zamioa on that inside track. And now as they go up the hill, there's contact. There's contact through the banking. Zamioa tags the rear and they keep it together. Zamioa up to second.
An excellent job from Togo Hisada because Zamioa definitely drifted up the racetrack into Togo Hisada. I was wondering what the dynamic was going to be if Oye got into second place here because we've seen Hisada and Claridge be running so close to each other. That was really one of the first times that we saw Hisada and Zamioa run close, and unfortunately there was just the slightest bit of contact.
Mick Claridge is stage hunting. The difference for Zamioa, he's got a championship to think about, and that could have been a huge blow in the title race. Here comes Togo. He's not going to take that sitting down. He finds the move on the inside.
I think that was a little bit of a hand in the air from Zamioa. He saw Togo Hisada with the run, and I think he realized that he drifted up into Togo just a couple laps ago, kind of left the door open, didn't battle that too hard.
No, he really didn't, but now Mick Claridge has been given an opportunity here, but the traffic again gets a little bit dicey. Bjorn Ackermann off of the exit then of 4 for Togo Hisada will be next on the focus. 2 more in front of that then for Mick Claridge. He's got Robert Reynolds, and then he's got the back of the next group, which will be Gary Ho, and then you got Thomas Hauser, Harvey, and Matthew Nelson on the focus. They're hitting the traffic at the peak point of this race, the end.
That's gonna get busy. We got, what, I'm sorry, not 30 laps. We got 5 laps, 4 laps remaining, so you're going to have to gather it up.
Nieva.
Yeah, Nieva around Zamioa. I was wondering if Zamioa has problems from that contact.
It might be ever so slight, but I think that was just well worked by Jorge Nieva. He had to push it. Car in trouble. Up at the top is Mick Claridge. It's Mick Claridge. He's gone.
That was all by himself, Jake. We're going to get a GSRC replay here. I think he might have even clipped the inside wall coming in here. Does he grab the tires? Yes.
Oh, that is a minute mistake, and it has the most major of consequences for Mick Claridge, who was put through the ringer through the entirety of this race, and he cracked He cracked at the most important point. Here's the look from Togo Hesada. He will see that he has just, and I mean just, caught the inside attenuator.
And I hadn't noticed how close they were getting to those tires, that pit lane wall, but man, I didn't think the mistake was going to come from Mick Claridge with no pressure in the mirror.
I tell you what, it's still going to be a tough race. This is now for the podium here. Zamioa versus Nieva. This is for second place that they find themselves on, and Zamioa will have himself a lap and a bit to try and find this move. He sits knowing there's a lot of traffic they're about to hit. The lead is gone. It's over a second now for Togo Hesada. Barney the flagman awaits with the white flag to say that there will be one more lap to go. There he waves it, and now it's all about opportunity in the final stages. Nieva has Zamioa scouted. Traffic's going to deny the move through the opening corner here, but has Nieva just made a mistake? Has Nieva just made a mistake? Zamioa side by side, looking for second and vital championship points against his compatriot as they head towards 3 and 4. It's perfect for Togo Hesada, who's been desperate for a win this season. Is finally going to get it. It's going to be a battle, though, as he goes around, just like that. It's gone in the final corner. Drag race for the line. It's Nievas by 300.
Oh my goodness. Togo Hesada falls all the way down to what is the 4th place position off of the podium. I don't know what to say here. I think that this is a little bit of maybe victory getting to him a little too early, Jake.
Wow. We're going to step aside here at the Global Sim Racing channel. A lot to dissect when we come back. With 5 laps to go, we thought it was going to be a story here today of Mick Claridge versus Togo Hesada. With 1 corner to go, it was Hesada's locked up under key. You look at where we are now, it's Jorge Nieve's first win of the season, and he wins by 300ths in a drag race against Oye Jamayoa in 2nd position. Hervé Trengarade would end up in 3rd, with Togo Hesada being dropped down to 4th off of the podium after his mistake on the final corner of the Milwaukee Mile. Sebastian Tixier will play damage limitation, can only manage a 5th place here, with John Olsen in 6th and Juho Reiner in 7th position. Laust Olsen would have himself with a lot of work to do in 8th, as Shinsuke Tashima would finish 9th, and Jonathan Jourdain would round out the top 10, Joey.
Then we have Xavier Sanchez, your biggest mover, up 18 positions to finish 11th. Matthew Nelson, also a good drive, up 8 positions himself to finish 12th. And we have Gary Ho, 13th. Marco Antonio Lopez Salgado finishing in 14th. Kurt Clapper with a top 15 effort. Ellis Spice back here in 16th. Then we have Tobias Harnvey, 17th. Terry Tromhauser is going to be your second car, 2 laps down in 18th. Gary Quellen, 19th. Jan Steffen in 20th.
And over the page, 21st, it would end up being for Mick Claridge, with Robert Reynolds in 22nd. Your F2 championship leader also ran into troubles today. Bjorn Ackermann, 12 laps down come the end. Everybody down here are retirees. David Beattie, Stay Morris, Christian Adabas in trouble. So too Bill Tyler, Leo Sequeiro in trouble. So too Sandro Scary, who we saw have a very scary moment in the early start. So too Shadi Ahmad getting into troubles. The last 3 drivers, or 2 drivers in trouble, being Jason Clapper and Michael Clapper, both Clappers finding themselves having to clap from the sidelines, with Ilan Marcel, number 33 car, in last position, 33rd overall. A lot of drivers that we got to talk to. Joey Atterbury stood by with your race winner, Jorge Nieve.
Mr. Nieva, first of all, congratulations on the win. How was it for you?
Thank you. It was, well, completely unexpected, because I was 4th fastest today. Even Ove, I think, was faster than me, but with the slipstream from the people ahead, I could barely follow them, and, well, something happened. I still don't know exactly what.
Well, I can tell you, it was Mick Claridge, unfortunately, with a handful of laps left. He made a mistake and hit the wall on turn number 1. And then Togo Hesada, I think, got a little bit too hot dogging coming out of turn 4. Got yawed out and spun it around. So it was really between yourself and Zamayoa for what? The last 2 laps, you guys were side by side battling it out for what was 2nd place at the time.
Well, I have a lot of confidence in Oyer. I drive with him a lot, and I was completely sure we will respect each other, and it was worth a try. The try for the, I think it was the 3rd place when we started fighting. I think he was maybe fastest today, but I think he was waiting for the end to attack, and when he attacked, I saw maybe I can overtake him, and in the end, 3 laps later, I could.
Well, I'm looking at the statistics over here. This looks to be your 2nd win total here in these Lotus 49 cars. How does that feel for you?
Well, I don't know. Maybe I'm an oval guy because the other wing was at Monza with the oval part, but I'm not very good at ovals. I can't avoid the accidents in front of me, but today, luckily, I didn't have much. Only Mick, and I could avoid him. But yeah, maybe I need to change my car to a NASCAR or something else.
I love it, Nieva. And before I let you go, anybody you want to give a shout out to?
I want to thank Bill Tyler because I used his setup and it was awesome. I was comfortable from the first minute I used it, and he makes the best oval setups, in my opinion. Thank you, Bill.
Well, sometimes you need the luck out on the racetrack. This time it was Jorge Nieva claiming the checkered flag, getting a little bit lucky on the last lap.
Can always happen. We're going to speak, though, with the driver who finished 4th overall. He had the race lead for 68.8 miles, but mile 69 just found himself a little bit too far away. Togo, what happened?
Yeah, still can't believe it. Just wheel spinning the turn 4, I can easily manage with throttle control, but I can't. Yeah, just my, you know, the simply my so childish mistake.
Well, these sorts of mistakes, you've been desperate for a race win all season long. It looked like the stars were going to align for you here today. How crucial is this drop of points for you, considering that you had an outside shot coming in here, looking at the halfway point of the season? Are you just looking at this now as championship is out of the question? You're now just looking for form?
Yeah, and the first half of the season, just spinning on the blunt touch and looking in the last week round, or I can't stand. I cannot win. Today just my mistake, but I can't earn enough points yet, so that it's gonna be really tough to take the championship battle in the next 6 rounds. So looking for opportunity, but it's really, I wish to take the battle.
How do you bounce back then after seeing the race go away like this? How do you tackle Road Atlanta next week? What's the mindset?
Just prepare and stay calm. Don't make this mistake again. It's really childish mistake. So just calm down and prepare and setups and do the rest.
Well, Togo, arigato gozaimasu, and we will see you very, very soon, hopefully. A 4th place finish overall.
Yep.
Well, there you have it. That was Togo Hesada. A driver, though, who is up at the pointy end of the championship is Sebastian Tixier. He stood by with Joey Atterbury.
Maybe not on the podium today. A little bit of a lonely race. How was Milwaukee today for you, Seb?
As expected, slow for me, a lot understeer. But yeah, USA, feet per second and pound stuff.
I love the vibe you bring every single week. It seems like there's something new to the webcam. I love the shirt today. It's very representative of where you're... Oh, and the hat. Yes, I love it. Yep. And I guess you're going to have to keep it around because I heard Road America is next week. Do you have maybe some bratwurst and some cheese to kind of hang in the background?
I can take some Gruyere if you want.
There you go.
I'm French, so I have to take some proper cheese, like not those cheddar stuff. No thanks. Please.
Well, a top 5 today at Milwaukee. The oval, a totally different wild card here for you. How did you feel about your performance?
Honestly, for me, it's like a victory, a small victory, because I was not expecting to take so many points. Hopefully, last time I drove with Mick on oval, he ended up in the fence waiting for his banana as a monkey hanging in the fence. And I saw the replay, he tried another stunt today, but I did not manage to finish in the fence, so I'm a bit disappointed with you, Mick. Do better next time, please.
I think I saw, since we are in America here, his crew chief was holding a Slurpee out there on pit wall, and he tried to grab it as he was driving by, but unfortunately hit the wall himself. But before I let you go, Seb, I think you should still be on top of the points championship, so hopefully the points keep rolling in. Anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Bill Tyler for the setup, really good setup. Struggled with understeer, and with this setup I managed to get a constant pace during the whole race. Too bad Bill had the issue with a backmarker, so yeah, thanks Bill.
Well, that was Seb Tixier coming home today in 5th place at the Milwaukee Mile.
A good run for Sebastian Tixier, one that will get him some consistent points. The final driver we'll get a chance to chat with is one of our own here, Mick Claridge, along with us. Mick, you were put through the ringer for about 65 laps by Togo Hesada here in this one, and Naoya Zamayoa. The issue that you found out was that this pit wall, it bites. Mick, do we have a copy of you, buddy? Unfortunately, it looks like we're going to be unable to bring you Mick Claridge then here today. The microphone not quite working, so I think that, unfortunately, is going to wrap things up for how we are going to be trying to dive through. We'll try one last time to get Mick Claridge. Mick, do you have a copy?
Oh, there we go.
There we go. Just
Oh,
about
sorry,
got
guys.
in at the nick of time. The 11th hour. It was the 11th hour, Mick, where it all went wrong for you. It just looked like everything was perfectly lined up. You'd staved off an almighty assault by Togo Hasada, but the inside wall got you.
Oh, I couldn't believe I did that. I've only done that about 2 or 3 times in practice all week, and to do it in the main race, I really can't believe I did it, Jake. You know, the car was heading in there, and I'm like, oh no, it's going to hit the wall. Why don't I do something about it? Oh, it's too late. That sort of thing happened, you know?
You sort of saw it just happen before your eyes and realised you couldn't do anything to sort of correct it. For you, though, coming back in, jumping into a race like this, how important was it for you to just go out there and have some fun as you were stage hunting?
Yeah, absolutely. To be honest with you, Jake, that's why I'm not actually upset about it, really. I'm just so happy to get back in the car again and at least be on the pace. I mean, it's a bit of freaky being on an oval and being on pace. We don't really know what's going on. It's actually the first proper race I've had with Togo in all the years we've both been racing now. We've actually never sort of met up on track much, you know. So yeah, it was great fun. I mean, that side by side, I couldn't believe that. You know, I just loved every second of it. So yeah, really enjoyed it.
And for you, is this a case of this is a once in a blue moon for you, or are we seeing you next week at Road Atlanta?
I'm going to be back. I'm going to be here until April. I'm heading out back on the road again on the bike in April, and the world weather dictates that I have to wait till then to carry on where I left off. So yeah, so I'm here till April. So good couple of seasons, season and a half. Then yeah, off again, mate.
A good season and a half, and we certainly hope to see you up there challenging at the top of the championship. Maybe not this season, but next season is the hope. Mick, before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to thank?
Yeah, cheers. Just you guys, all the guys in the community. It's another chance for me to say thank you to all the people that donated to the GoFundMe. That's so important. This ride, although it's not happening now, this ride would not be happening at all if it weren't for all of you guys who have helped. So thanks to you lot, and the Mackenzie boys. The Mackenzie boys are watching. Don't mess with the Mackenzie boys, Jake.
No, I'm definitely not messing with the Mackenzie boys. Let's put it that way. Mick Claridge then getting himself not the finish he wanted in 21st, but showed that he had definitely the pace to challenge here today. That will definitely draw the curtain closed here for racing action here at the Milwaukee Mile here for 2023 Season 4. Halfway is put directly in the books, and we couldn't have done it without you. Massive thanks to the crew here today, from Joey, from Robert, and from Dougie. Here is all of the equipment that helped get it done on a show like this, and a special thanks has to go to June Lalonde. Her music is incredible. Catch it out on Bandcamp if you have not already. 1 week from today, we will be at Road Atlanta, but there is so much coming up here with the Global Sim Racing channel. You do not want to miss anything of what is going on. All of our series is scrolling across your screen. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you at Road Atlanta.